Is there anything else about the assassination or the suspect that we need to know?
It didn't happen in vacuum. Charlie Kirk's TPUSA team did put out a statement after he was murdered that he had received thousands of threats over the years. And Mr. Kirk was not vocal about that, unsurprisingly. For us in this space, there's this uncomfortable reality that if we're effective at what we do, we are subjected to a lot of threats, and you just don't talk about it. One, you're instructed not to by your security team, because it can inspire people. It can also, you might say something that might reveal certain vulnerabilities in your security situation. So you just don't talk about it. You don't even acknowledge the existence of some of the credible threats. And I had been and am in that position. There's lots of stuff that the public doesn't know about what I've gone through over the years. And Mr. Kirk's events and TPUSA events in the US, across the US, have been really brutally attacked by Antifa and far-left extremists many times over the years. It happens so much that it's considered like a norm. Like for one, like at the base level, you should expect that somebody will come up to your table if you're tabling and they overturn it, or that they hit somebody who's at the table. That's happened so many times. Smash a drink on their face.
So there's been assaults from Antifa
many
TPUSA
many
events.
times where far-left extremists or trans activists will come up. They go up, and it's in this context where leftists feel that they openly call for their political opponents to be killed. So what's it to them to go up and flip over a table, dump a drink on somebody, or hit somebody in the face? I mean, at UC Davis, a whole mob of radical Antifa and transgender and queer activists, mass, announced they were going to go attack a TPUSA event, and they did it. I think it was in March, just this year. In this video, it's during the day. They just went together. They're in black bloc, and they completely destroy the table. Campus police is there. They don't respond. Like, this is sort of the norm and context. And a few years before that, Charlie Kirk also spoke at TPUSA, and that event had a mob smashing up the windows of the building where he was at. I mean, I've had an event where I spoke in Richmond, Virginia, where there was a bomb threat that was directed. So this is normalized. It's a non-story that this happens day in, day out in the US. So this is the context of where the assassination at the Utah Valley University and what happened there. So I want people to remember that. And looking at stepping back slightly further, there's a wider context of left-wing violence that has been escalating in the US that people are completely ignorant about, in denial about, for a number of reasons. One, we see it happening now because people lie. People with power lie. People with loud voices lie. They lie in the press. Or they put up misleading narratives. For example, like the Daily Beast story wasn't lying about the suspect's family being MAGA, but you can see the suggestion that's in the headline. Right. It's like
they don't present the information making the other case.
They make a suggestion for any of their readers what they're trying to suggest, you know. Don't look at the radical left that may have radicalized the gunman. Look at his family. Look at, they were pro-Second Amendment, that they were conservatives. Maybe that was the reason that the family's was so cooperative, actually, that they are a conservative family and they follow the law and support law enforcement, that they turned over their own son.
Yeah.
You know, and was actually allegedly able to convince him to be allowed to turn in. There's been many, many examples where a far left suspect wasn't turned in. For example, I just talked about Willem van Sponsen in Tacoma, that Antifa gunman. He sent out his manifesto to his friends and comrades. Nobody contacted law enforcement. Nobody. A few weeks ago, there was a large manhunt for the alleged ringleader of an Antifa cell in North Texas after a shooting at an ICE facility in Alvarado. A local police officer there was shot in the neck.
Killed?
He survived. Very lucky. Most alleged members of the cell, were arrested on the spot or in the days after, but the alleged ringleader disappeared for many, many days, and he was Texas top 10 most wanted, FBI most wanted. Millions in the state of Texas all received on their mobile phone. Benjamin Song, wanted, considered armed and dangerous, contact FBI, call 911 if you see him. He allegedly was harbored in a home by other comrades who kept him there. They've since also been arrested and accused formally of obstruction. So, yeah, that's the contrast.
But Andy, according to former President Joe Biden, Antifa is an idea. It's not an organization. You describe these groups as comrades. It sounds awfully like they are organized.
See, the thing about what Biden said is that it's actually not true. And I know that a lot of people heard it and were very angry because it sounds like a denial of reality. And here's sort of the paradox. What he said is true, and it's also a denial of reality, in that there was a suggestion that this threat of organized Antifa militancy or organized violent militancy from the far left doesn't really exist, and that Antifa is just an idea and it's minimized. But it's also true that it is an idea, but you have to really think of it similar to radical Islam or jihadist ideology. It is an idea. It's an idea that can manifest into organized movements that are violent or non-violent, that are criminal, that are terroristic. It can manifest in all those ways. The cell can be as small as an individual. How many times have we seen in the UK and America, all over the West, all over the world, where the radicalized killer doing it in the name of IS, Islamic State, or Al-Qaeda, or Al-Shabaab, whatever, was one person. In particularly in Western countries, is one person who's radicalized online. Even they may not have even been formally connected to any cell, and of course had never gone to Syria or Iraq for any type of training. So you have to think of it sort of like that way, and that leads to another thing, is that a lot of people are saying now and have been saying for a long time, why doesn't President Trump or his administration ban Antifa? Well, you can't. You can't, because it runs into First Amendment issues, first of all. And the anti-terrorism legislation at the federal level in the US is it's outdated in that it's written for an international connection. It's written in the years after 9/11, where terrorism was understood as having connection, for example, to the Middle East or other foreign countries. Antifa does function in part as an ideology. It's like permeated into radical left culture. And so immediately, if any executive order was written, it would just be challenged on First Amendment grounds in the courts, and it would be restricted because of that. So,
Could you not?
And we don't have time to lose. I don't advocate for Antifa to be banned, because time is of the essence. We don't have time to lose for these court battles, you know?
But, but isn't an organization like Rose City Antifa an actual organization? So,
see, now, yes, they are an actual organization. They are a particular example of one of the many cells that can manifest under this banner ideology. But for many, many years now, they've wised up. They realized the risk that, they could actually be charged with RICO and conspiracy charges if they function as like an organization. There were 12 people part of a SoCal Antifa cell, for example, who were convicted in San Diego, went to trial. That was a case that was completely ignored by the mainstream media, by the way. When people say there's no evidence for organized Antifa, well, look at that case. SoCal Antifa in San Diego County. So how they organize now is, you see that a lot of these organized Antifa groups, Rose City Antifa, a number of them, they're part of networks, they've gone quite quiet on the social media. And instead they've moved into more of the model of don't publicly organize as a cell, let's say, and to instead put the propaganda and ideology out there as well as the targets, and hope that one of your comrades, maybe one of your comrades involved in the cell, or maybe somebody who's sympathetic to it, takes action. And so there's been a number of terrorist attacks, domestic, particularly on infrastructure, in the last 5 years that have come under this Antifa umbrella. And the reason how we can know that, and I report it out because the mainstream media ignores it, is that the claims of responsibility are posted on these anarchist blogs. So after the arson attack, after something's burnt down, police vehicles burnt down, or buildings that are smashed up, whoever did it allegedly will send a statement of responsibility to one of these anarchist Antifa blogs. That's where they've shifted to. They believe that it makes it more difficult to break up any cell, and they may not even be a cell. It really could just be an individual. That's the other thing too. So this is, we're so far from confronting this issue. Like we can't even get on a consensus that violent far left ideology is one, real, and two, bad. We're not even at agreement with that in the US. So
thanks for watching this clip from The Winston Marshall Show. You can click here to watch the full episode, and for more clips like this one, don't forget to subscribe. And as always, be well.